Okay guys, so this is going to be the last video I post for tonight. I'm going to do a couple of the one-step equations, a couple of two-step equations, and then I'm going to concentrate on the multi-step equations. And the multi-step inequalities and equations all work the same way, except of course with the inequalities you have to graph. There is no final answer. Okay, so I'm going to do as much as I can before this 15-minute video is up. All right, so for one-step equations, remember, you have to get the variable by itself. The variable is v, so do the opposite of what you see. You got to get rid of this minus 21, so you will add 21 to both sides. Simple as that. Okay, so in order to get the variable by itself, you have to do the inverse operation. In class, I called it doing the opposite of what you see. So if I do that, I'm going to minus 21 on both sides, or excuse me, add 21s on both sides. So I have 19 plus 21, so that's 40. So this is 40, that cancels out. So now you have v equals 40, final answer. Let's do this one, okay? So in order to get k by itself, I have to do the opposite of what I see. So this is minus 21 on both sides, minus 21 on both sides. I'm hoping by now this looks kind of familiar to you. So if I subtract 21 on both sides, I will get 14 over here. That cancels out, so k equals 14. Okay, so remember, for the ones that look like this, whenever you have a number with a letter right next to each other, it means multiply. So the opposite of multiply would be divide. You divide by exactly what you see. Don't change signs. It's not negative 14. Keep it positive. We only change signs when we are doing adding or subtracting. So the only time you're going to change signs is when you're doing ones that look like this. That minus 21 becomes a plus 21. Or ones that look like this. That plus 21 becomes a minus 21. Okay? But when it looks like this, a number right next to a letter, we know that's multiplication, so we will divide by what we see, keeping the sign that's with it. So we're going to divide by 14 on both sides. So I have 98 divided by 14, which is going to give me 7. So S equals 7. It's going to be a negative 7 because we have a negative divided by a positive. So the answer here would be negative 7. Same rule applies for when you see fractions. Fractions mean division, so you'll do the opposite of what you see. So in order to get t by itself, I got to get rid of this negative 9, right? So what I'm going to do is multiply by negative 9 on both sides. Hopefully this looks familiar. And if it doesn't, if it's going too fast, remember, other hard academies take this a lot slower from the beginning of the year when we were first doing this. So I'm going to multiply by negative 9 on both sides. So with this one, I have negative 9 times negative 8, which is going to give me a positive 72. Negative times the negative is a positive. So positive 72 equals t. Remembering all that's going to cancel out, just dropping you with t. So that was a quick review of the one-step equations. Two-step equations. With two-step equations, we're going to add or subtract first, unless it's an equation with junk in a trunk. So let me do this one first. Add or subtract first. I see that plus 3, so I'm subtract 3 on both sides. So this is 5x, that canceled out, equals 8 minus 3 is 5. So now I have 5x, that means multiply, so I'll divide by 5 on both sides. That cancels out, leaving me x. X equals 1. Okay, so let me go down to this one. Okay, add or subtract first, so I'm going to get rid of this 6. Plus 6 on both sides. So I have negative 2, because that canceled out, equals 16. Okay, write that a little bit neater. Here we go. So here it is. That canceled out. Negative 2 m equals 16. Get rid of the negative 2 by dividing by negative 2 on both sides. So that cancels out, leaving me m. 2 will go into 16 8 times. That's going to be negative 8. Okay? So m equals negative 8 for this one, because negative 2 will go into 16 8 times. And a negative divided by a positive is a negative. So for this one, add or subtract first, unless it's a junk in a trunk. Not junk in a trunk, junk in a trunk. Okay? So subtract 7 from both sides. Bring down your x over 5. That canceled out. 11 minus 7, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 is 4. Now I'm going to multiply by 5 on both sides. Multiply by 5 on both sides. That cancels out, leaving me x. 4 times 5 is 20. So for this answer, x is 20. Okay. for this one, and then I'll do the junk in the trunk one. All right, so I'm going to subtract 7 on both sides. Subtract 7. Remember, negative and negative, as a negative, just add 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's a negative 12. That canceled out. Bring down my 3r. Divide by 3. Divide by 3. So what happens here is 3 will go into negative 12, negative 4. That cancels out. So negative 4 equals r. All right, so now I'm going to go to the junk in the trunk one, a small review. Remember, with ones with junk in the trunk, instead of adding subtracting first, we multiply first. Multiply that bottom number out. So I'm going to multiply with 2 on both sides, because what's going to happen, that cancels. Drop the junk in the trunk. That's a negative 2. So now what I need to do is subtract 2 on both sides. So now it's a equals a negative is a negative. Just add. A equals negative 4 for that junk in the trunk one. Okay, so now multi-step. All right, so with the multi-step, this is what we need to do. You still need to put all your variables on one side and all your negative numbers on one side. Okay, so what I'm going to first do is I'm going to combine the like terms. So I have a negative 4x on this side and a 4 on this side. One of them has got to move because I got to have all my numbers with variables on one side. So to make things easier for myself, I'm going to move this one because I know I'm just going to add 4x to both sides. Add 4x to both sides. That's supposed to be a straight line. Let me try that again. When I do that, what happens is this now becomes 8x. Okay, so I'm going to put it down here so it's not in between the letters or in between the problems. So 4 plus 4, that's now 8x, plus 7 minus 6x equals 5 plus 4. That canceled out, right? But if you notice, what we still have here is this. So now I'm going to combine like terms that are on the same side of the equal sign. So I'm not going to subtract 6x. I'm going to combine like terms, just like we did earlier in the earlier of the review. So when I combine these like terms, it means adding. So I have a positive 8 and a negative 6. What do I do when I have positive and negative? I'm really subtracting. It's going to give me a positive 2. Okay? So really it's 2x if I combine this with this. Bring down what you have. So now I'm going to combine the naked like terms. Okay? So the easiest way to do that, combine these first, you see that? So that now becomes 9 equals plus 7 2x. Now this now this looks like a regular two-step equation, doesn't it? Now that you put everything together. Let me put that up here. Subtracting 7 from both sides. So 2x equals 2. Divide by 2, divide by 2, x equals 1. I'll go ahead and do another one. Still got plenty of time on this video. So with this one, wow, this is totally multi-step. You're not going to get hard ones like this, but I want you to get that experience. Got to distribute first. Distribute that 3. 3 times 5 is 15. So that was going to be 15x. Okay. 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. Bring down everything else. Okay, and there's several different ways that you can do this. First, I can combine this x with this x. Remember, combining means adding them together. So if I do that, I have 9 plus a negative 2, right? 9 plus negative 2, I know I'm really going to subtract, and this is going to be 7x. Okay, so now they're combined, so I can take it out. And I'm just going to bring down my plus 6. And what I can do from here is now combine these x's. I have 15 plus 4, and they're both positive. So 15 plus 4, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19x on this side. So I have 19x on this side. Just bring that back down. But see, now I have x's are still on the opposite side, so one of them's got to move over. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I will move the 7. Sure. See how that's a positive 7? So now I'm going to subtract 7. The thing is, if you're moving over to the other side, that's when you have to add or subtract. If they're on the same side, you combine them. If you got to move it over, you have to do the opposite of what you see. So hopefully that makes sense. If it must move over, across the road, you have to do the opposite of what you see. If you're combining and they're on the same side of the road, you just combine, which means add. Okay, so minus 7 over this thing. So now what I have here is you have your 19x minus your 7. And that will give you 12. So this is 12x on this side. Bring down your minus 6. That canceled out. And now you just have a positive 6 on this side. Now you're back to a regular two-step equation. Let me rewrite that up here. 2x minus 6 equals 6. So you know what to do from here. Add 6 to both sides. Okay, so that gets me 12x, that canceled out, equals 12. Divide by 12, divide by 12, again, x equals 1, assuming I did all the math right. I think I might have time for one more example, so I will do this one. All right, so there's no parentheses, so I don't have to distribute. So, but look, on this side of the street, okay, I can combine like terms. This is just like combining like terms in the beginning of the review. So I have a 4. Don't forget that's a negative. Oops. So I have 4x plus a negative 6x. 4x combined, add the negative 6x. So you know I'm going to subtract, keep the sign of the higher number. So you know that's negative 2x right here. Bring down what's left over. Bring down my parentheses. Okay. Now on this side, you see I can combine the negative numbers. That's a positive 5 and a positive 4. As you know, that makes a positive 9. And then just bring down what's left over. But see, you still have x's on both sides of the road. So now you need to cross the street. So when you cross the street, that's when you do the opposite of what you see. I'm going to take this 4 and bring it over here. So, or you could take this 2 and bring it over here. It doesn't matter, your choice. So that means I'm going to add 4x. Add 4x. And when I combine these two or add them together, negative plus positive, I'm going to subtract, keep the sign of the higher digit. Bring down my 7 equals, that canceled out, 9. Now you know what to do. You're at a regular two-step equation. Subtracting 7 on both sides. 2x. And I happen to pick all problems where x equals 1. Okay? And I might have time just to finish this one out. Let's see, if it gets to 14 minutes, I can't. I'm going to distribute first. 3 times 5 is 15. Oh, that's the same problem. I put the same problem twice. That one is that one up there. I don't know if anybody else realized that, but hey, that saves me some work. So hopefully do multi-step equations, and there's only going to be one multi-step equation and one multi-step inequality. But hopefully that won't throw you off too much. And just write down some notes on your cheat sheet in order to get those done. All right. I'll see you tomorrow.